Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. Today, I'm going to be putting a light bar in the front of the truck. Now, this is repurposing a light bar that I had before. And this is one of the good things about going to different models of the Toyota Tacoma. A lot of the mods transfer over, so you buy them once instead of 15 different times. I like that about the Tacoma. Now, the light bar that I'm going to put on, this is a Diode Dynamics. It's a 30-inch. They call it a driving light. It is white light. It is LED, of course. Now, to do this, it's really pretty simple, although it takes a little bit of oomph. We have to take the grill off. By the way, I have an awesome grill mod coming. That's going to be so cool. Not the usual TRD Pro grill. But to get back to this, to take the grill off, a couple of things to do in prep. You have a wire that connects back here, and there is a good way to do it, I think. You see this brown tab here. Typically, it's right up through this hole. You just squeeze in on the edges, push it down. And then right here is where this wire plugs in. And there is a white connector here. You push in on the sides and push that through. That will enable you to turn this thing because the push piece that you need to pull this off or disconnect it is underneath. It's right here. It just pushes down. But it's pretty difficult to do when it's sitting just like this. So I recommend going ahead and pushing this on through. It's very simple to do. You can do it with your fingers. I did. And then once you disconnect it, go ahead and plug that back in so you don't lose it, of course. Now, well, you're not going to lose it because it's connected to the grill. That's why we have to disconnect it, right? To take the grill off, I'm sure a lot of people know how to do this, but just a quick refresher. You've got a couple of push pins, one on each side, one there. One there, and to pull these up, you just grab it in the center, pull the center part up, and then the pin pulls off that easy. No tools required. Can do it by hand. And then you have a couple of screws, one here, one here. I'll caution you when you put the grill back on, don't over tighten these. They're just held in by nylon threaded inserts. Lastly, once these are out, to pull the grill off, just pull up on these arms just a little bit because there's a recessed opening there that kind of fits down over the insert. You don't want to be fighting that when you pull the grill off, and it's amazing how much resistance it offers. So just pull this up a little bit on each side before you pull the grill out. To pull the grill out, just grab each corner, give it a big oomph, and the whole grill is going to come right off the front pretty easy. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll get to installation of the light bar. And by the way, I'm pretty excited about this too because it'll be my first test with the new aux beam switch panel. I don't have anything hooked up to that right now, so I'll show you how to do that too. It's pretty simple. Just that easy. Now, next up for this light bar, it has these brackets that fit down over a couple of cross members, I don't know what you call them, a couple of structural supports or the bumper supports underneath. To get to those, you have to remove these two side panels, which, by the way, there's been some controversy. These will fit back on with the light bar installed without any trimming. The first time I did this, I actually trimmed those because I didn't realize they fit back on. Now, to pull these off, a couple of push pins. You should have, let's see, one right here and in the same place on the other side. And then it just pushes in with some prongs into some holes on the truck. Pretty simple. Definitely easier to take the driver's side out. Now, these cross members or supports I was talking about, they are right down below. There's one right there and one over here. And this is the most difficult part of the mod. To secure the bracket, there are two holes on each side, right there. And these holes correspond to where these bolts are on the sides over there. So you have to take those bolts out, and then the brackets slip on and you tighten it back down. You're basically done except for connecting up to the electric. We've got it in, as you guys can see right here. It wasn't too bad this time. Had to do a little finagling. A tip for you, those side brackets, keep at least one of them a little bit loose because you kind of have to manipulate it a little bit to get it over the studs down there on that silver piece. The other thing is this side piece over here. Once the bracket's in there, because of this tubing here, and you don't want to damage the tubing or your radiator, you kind of have to manipulate that a little bit. The way it goes in is kind of down and towards the passenger side and then rotate it up and around. Took me about 20 minutes to get that piece back in, but it does fit without doing any cutting. Now, we have to do the wiring. We're going to wire it into the aux beam. I did put a disconnect in here just so I could separate everything as opposed to running the wire straight up to the aux beam, which I could have done, but I want to be able to pull that light bar without disconnecting the wiring from the aux beam if I want to. All right, we got them connected in right here. I put them on a 20 amp breaker. It's a little overkill, but I didn't want to go lower. These have from 5, well, they go 5, 10, 20, and 30, and 20 is probably as close as I can get to the 11 to 13 that the light is. So, they're plugged in the back, very simple system. You just pull the screws up, stick the wires in, tighten the screws, you're done. Now it's time to test it before we tuck all the wiring down. All right, as you guys could see, it actually did work. That's always a benefit. Nothing worse than doing some sort of an electrical mod. You flip the switch and nothing happens, or worse yet, you hear a noise like a fuse popping or start to smell smoke. None of that would be good. I'm glad to say I didn't have any of that. It's in, it's across the front. Again, a good way to repurpose a mod from something else that you may have used before. Anyway, love the way that it hooks up to the aux beam, but we do have another mod that we're going to do. Unfortunately, this video is going to get way too long if I do it. It's going to be an epic mod. It's a completely different grill for the front of the truck, something pretty darn cool. So if you haven't, click that subscribe button and turn on those notification bells so that you don't miss out. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Mod Driven, all about the Honda Civic, and RobMotive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.